There was a moving ceremony at Mogadishu Airport as African Union peacekeeping forces bade a sad farewell to four of their brothers in arms.
Tonight on Top Stories,
we are the entrance into the University of Buea, the place to be as it's usually called.
Edwin Nfor, Tamfuh, is on special assignment in Buea.
It is that story that we have come to experience.
We will take you to the University of Buea, where students are grumbling.
The students vote for their leader. It is not the vice chancellor, that hand-picked persons that are going to favor his ideas.
I'm just hearing for the two because I know that student union is one and one it remains.
Is there a way out of the crisis? And is UB still the place to be? We will talk to the Vice Chancellor.
There has always been a competition on supremacy between the Council Chairman, head of the legislature, and the President of the Union, head of the executive.
And they were angry because gendarmes molested their colleague.
Dr. Nana was brutalized as Dr. Nana in the hospital premises, not in an off-license.
Angry medical practitioners at Buea Medical Hospital say enough is enough and take to the street to denounce insecurity at work.
If I may call him a culprit, he's behind the bars.
Plus, the Cameroon Shipyard and Industrial Engineering Company is seriously sick.
We have worked here for more than 10 years, 15 years, and our rights, we are asking for our rights, which the administration does not want to pay.
Workers as well as administrators are disagreeing publicly. The company is reportedly losing millions of francs CFA due to the squabble. Hello there, everyone, and welcome. Tamfuh. Harrison Tamfuh is my name. Let's begin with the news briefs of the week.
The bus, destroyed beyond repairs, collided with a truck. 6 persons died on the spot, while 10 others were seriously wounded. Though the accident has been blamed on high speed, eyewitnesses say it is a recurrent situation at Puma, where they witness fatal road accidents on a daily basis. In Bafoussam, it was a fire incident that ravaged over 100 sheds at Marché A. The fire that broke out at about 4 a.m. on that unfaithful day left hundreds of traders frustrated, with many yet to evaluate losses incurred. The cause is yet to be established. The governor of the West region was at the scene to determine the actual cause.
We know that many think has been burned, but we are just struggling now to seek the means to solve some problem, to secure the markets, and also to suggest some solution.
A crisis commission headed by the MIFI divisional officer has been set up to determine the actual cause of the flames. The fire came hours after traders of the Bafoussam main markets A, B and C went on strike to protest against high rents of shops imposed on them by the city council. These disasters were at the center of a forum on disaster management that held in Limbe. Stakeholders came together to find solutions to catastrophes befalling markets and other structures.
Really, all the interest we are showing in what we're doing here. And, we have a Division of Civil Protection in the Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization. And for the last 2 years, we have experienced 75 market fires in our country, and mostly in the regions of the southwest, the littoral, and the west region, and we cannot go on like that. And on top of those fire disasters, we are experiencing more and more buildings crumbling in our society, in our cities, and namely in our markets. And we cannot sit idle and look at that. And we are experiencing a lot of loss of material resources and more loss of human resources.
Meanwhile, all was still not well this week with the Cameroon shipyard and engineering company Chantier Naval, as workers are yet to accept the modalities of the collective convention signed in Yaoundé this week, which aims at ameliorating their working conditions.
It was so important to preside over that ceremony because that's the first time for Chantier Naval to get that document. And we are sure that the relation between the management and the workers will go on, will be so good that we will not progress in Chantier Naval. And I heard them very good work.
This is a remarkable improvement of that one which was signed in 2001. So in effect, it is meant only for CNIC. That's why it is called company agreement. In French, it's a convention collective d'entreprise du CNIC, and it is essentially to regulate working relations in CNIC and especially improve on workers' conditions. It's an increase it hovers around 20%, about 25% for junior staff, 20% for senior staff. Then those who are right down there, about 30%, relatively to the salary table of 2001.
Relative calm is yet to return, although the crisis meeting headed by Wari's SDO, according to the aggrieved workers, was not convincing. They demanded the sacking of the company's board chair and the deputy general manager. In Buea, the university was rocked by crisis that both affected its administrators, students and the student union. Although the exams went on hitch-free, lecturers of the Faculty of Social and Management Sciences demanded the payment of research allowances and other dues. There was also strike at the Buea Regional Hospital, with the medical staff down tools after one of them was assaulted. Dr. Nana is the victim.
I was actually a victim of assault, not only physical assault but psychological assault, because of one patient whom I consulted and admitted in the ward, and eventually the patient died. The guardians, who happened to be military men, thought it was due to negligence.
The Minister of Communication announced the liberation of some Cameroonians taken hostage by pirates in the Bakassi Peninsula. He granted a press conference to that effect in Yaoundé.
Actively doing well, except of the case of gendarme Ngoo Mebe Tuba Priscilla, a nurse, who sustained an injury and also suffering from psychological trauma.
In Kongsamba, drivers are now occupying the new motor park after 12 days of protest against the city council. While some have regained the motor park, other drivers are still defying the government delegates' decision but hoping they will return soon.
Okay, those were the news briefs of the week. Now, workers at the Buea Regional Hospital have resumed duty after going on strike on Wednesday this week. They took to the streets after one of their colleagues, Dr. Nana Tamfuh, was molested by two gendarmes. The two gendarmes are reportedly being detained in Buea. Edwin for Tamfuh has been investigating that story in Buea.
It is the climax of an event which happened on the night breaking Wednesday, February 16, 2011 at the Buea Regional Hospital. The workers of the Buea Regional Hospital went on strike. Dr. Nana Teofil had been assaulted by 2 gendarme officers for what they called negligence for the death of their patient.
I was actually a victim of assault, not only physical assault but psychological assault, because of one patient whom I consulted and admitted in the ward, and eventually the patient died. The guardians, who happened to be military men, thought it was due to negligence. Well, that was their judgment, but immediately the patient came to the hospital. The patient was consulted and the treatment was written down, and she was immediately admitted in the ward. Now, saying that there was some I don't know, some carelessness. I don't really know how they judge it, but since they were armed, they had to threaten me at gunpoint and took me to their military base. That was where I received a blow on my head, and I fell down unconscious. And when I became conscious again, I found myself on one funny bed, and in one of those their camps there, and I saw the Legion commander accompanied by the delegate of public health and I think some other public officials. They are the ones who urged me, and they actually, because I was really depressed, I did not really know what to do. But when I saw them, I had a bit of courage, and they helped me and took me back to the hospital.
The message has gone through. Then you had a point, you made it very clear. And the memorandum, I will have to have a copy. But I think
on this Wednesday morning, the Southwest chapter of the National Medical Council was mobilized. The workers moved to the governor's office. The Buea Regional Hospital became the convergent point for authorities of the town, legal minds and media men, all for one cause.
Dr. Nana was brutalized as Dr. Nana in the hospital premises, not in an off-license. Therefore, it is the duty of the administration to do something about it. Otherwise, all the other staff of the hospital are not covered, because it will always be that we have been brutalized while on duty. He was not outside, it was in the hospitals, and therefore the administration should have something to say. These are not
exercise of his duty. Yes. Aggravated circumstances. He will be punished for that. He will be punished for that.
And an engagement was taken with the governor. Let us not reduce the authority of the governor by talking so much.
Many thought aloud that if the gendarmerie base, which is next to the hospital, acts as a source of insecurity instead of securing lives of patients and staff, it becomes all the more complicated. Hospital staff attended to no patients on this day. Dr. Nana Teofil was sent for checkup at the Douala Reference Hospital.
We sent him to the reference hospital yesterday for a thorough medical checkup, for the simple reason that he passed out, he had a blackout, and wanted to be sure. So he came back, and the investigation showed that he's okay.
By Thursday, February 17, 2011, the hospital staff had returned to work.
We were just trying to make our points, known to the administration, to know how we have been treated. This is not the first time, although this one has been exaggerated for, because to threaten somebody, pull the person out under gunpoint, and then you kidnap. It was too much. It was overwhelming for us to handle. So we just wanted the administration to know what has been done to us and exactly how we felt. So, but today our profession is, we should live above strikes. So our work is to save human lives, and we are back to work. Yeah.
Do you think that your message has gone through?
It has gone through. Okay. It has gone through because the governor spoke to us today, the SDO spoke to us, and the culprit, if I may call him a culprit, is behind the bars. Okay. That's what we were told by the administration.
We had confirmation from the mayor, who personally saw the two people in detention. And so when the governor told the staff that everything was going to be done and that there were instructions from hierarchy that those people were going to be followed up judicially. So that's precisely what happened at the level of the governor's office. He gave those reassurances, and I spoke to the staff, and all of them came back to the hospital. And later on, when the SDO finished with the doctors, he came and talked to the staff, and all agreed to go back to work.
Dr. Nana Tamfuh received the award as the most available health practitioner in the Buea Regional Hospital for 2010, was unavailable on this day. With the help of the hospital authorities and the National Medical Council, legal proceedings have been opened.
Yeah, I thank God that I wasn't killed, though I was assaulted. We are going to start up legal procedures to follow this matter up, and I think we have already gone as far as contacting some officials of the judiciary.
As the case unfolds, authorities of the Buea Regional Hospital are getting their collaborators back to work to continue in the service of the sick members of the public in Buea. The staff of the regional hospital in Buea have finally returned to work. The authorities of the city have calmed their minds, saying that everything is under control. But the authorities of the hospital continue to fear that more would happen because the gendarmerie office, which is just by the hospital to secure the lives of the people in the hospital, has instead acted as a source of insecurity. There is still fear.
Thanks indeed, Edwin, for that report. Now, the Cameroon Shipyard, an industrial engineering company, commonly known in French as Chantier Naval, is in serious crisis. Workers as well as administrators are quarreling in public over conditions of work. The permanent as well as the temporary workers are demanding better working conditions. Thomas Awa Jr. has been following the story over the week and now has this package for top stories.
Most of the guys we are seeing behind me, they are my colleagues. We have worked here for more than 10 years, 15 years, and our rights, we are asking for our right, which the administration does not want to pay, of which we have set up a commission in order to calculate this money and to pay us, but the administration in place is corrupt. They does not want to pay the money according to labor code. So that is why we are here. If they don't pay the money, we are here. We'll stay here for more than 2 weeks. If others have stayed on the road for 15 days, 3 weeks, one more of us, we are prepared to be here even for more than 6 months. Yes, let the authority know, and we want to seize this opportunity to send a message to the government, because the minister of labor came here and made his own nice promises and to no avail. So as from today, we want the government, especially the head of state, to solve this problem once and for all. If not, the problem will go off hands.
The situation at the Cameroon Shipyard and Industrial Engineering Company is far from being over. The strike that was launched 2 weeks ago by the permanent workers of the said establishment forcefully called the attention of the administration. This strike only followed the footpath of the temporary workers who have been protesting for several months now for their retrenchment rights to be paid off, something the authorities are not ready to give in. Recently, hundreds of workers boiling with indignation and disappointment, especially permanent workers, openly agitated at the premises of the headquarters of Chantier Naval to ask for the signing of their collective convention and the amelioration of their working conditions. Most of the workers expressed pessimism on the future of the company as long as Antoine Bikoro, the deputy general manager, and the company's board chair, Louis Claude Nyasa continued to be part of the institution. During the crisis meeting last Tuesday evening, after having signed their collective convention, the SDO for Vuri appealed that the workers regain duty while their grievances shall be transmitted to the high authorities. He reiterated that the 29% increase of their pay was only to bring comfort to the employees. He also cautioned them not to be manipulated by whosoever, as the 12 delegates remained divided. Some of them, who were considered to be close aides to Antoine Bikoro, made declarations that their colleagues resume work. We gave a strike deadline with the only demand for the signing of the collective convention. I think that we should resume work because we have already expressed our grievances. We had only workers. That is just my point of view. We are calling on all to resume work. The SDO for Vuri, who chaired the crisis meeting, cajoled the workers to resume work while their grievances be looked into. He had to address some workers of the Cameroon Shipyard and Industrial Engineering Limited who had on August 30, 2010, openly jubilated when the Assistant General Manager Antoine Bikoro Alo was sacked as manager, saw their hopes shattered upon hearing of his return. These desperate workers were found at the premises of the company. You have followed what I also heard from your spokesperson, that the problem of collective convention does not exist again. I got all from your spokesperson, but I think that this company must function. If you do not work, how can your grievances be treated? I will transmit your problems to the hierarchy. Coming back to the crisis meeting to say that at the time Louis Claude Nyasa, as the board chair, was given the floor, he brandished a prime ministerial order stipulating the prescribed roadmap of Chantier Naval. The board chairman stated that there were 3 signatories to the partnership accord, with the Cameroon government being number 1. He said according to the terms of the partnership between MTI and CNIC, the Korean company had agreed to send a management team of experts to run CNIC for a number of years, during which MTI would try to develop CNIC in a number of ways. This will include the rehabilitation and modernization of the dock as well as the equipment. Nyasa continued that the partnership agreement is for the transfer of technology from South Korea, which is much more developed in shipyard and industrial engineering. The board chair continued that one of the major priority projects of MTI in Cameroon will be to create an academy with expertise from South Korea, fully train interested young Cameroonians in naval building. During the deliberations, the boss, Moon Kui-hoo, remained silent with his translator sitting beside. The Chantier Naval imbroglio is far from being over, as it remains a problem of conflicting interests, as the roadmap of the Prime Minister and Moon Kui-hoo on Chantier Naval are at parallel lines. The turnover since the sacking of Zacchaeus Fondindam, which stood at 40 billion francs CFA, today stands at 8 billion francs. The company is invaded by repetitive strikes on the departure of Louis Claude Nyasa and Antoine Bikoro. Recently, the Assistant Financial Director, Atuga, forcefully broke into the office and started retrieving information from the machines. Chantier Naval remains a hot potato for the government to swallow. This is Thomas Awa Jr. Zenyinga reporting for Top Stories for Equinoxe Television.
Thanks a lot, Thomas Awa, for that report. We are now taking you back to Buea, precisely at the University of Buea, where an uneasy calm now reigns on the campus. Students are complaining that the administration is tearing them apart, but the administration says that it is doing all it can within its powers to maintain peace and stability on campus. The truth is, there is now peace and stability on the campus, but students are saying that they are not satisfied. Edwin for Tamfuh traveled to the University of Buea to find out what is happening, what is going on the campus. Edwin for.
Welcome Tamfuh, Harrison Tamfuh. We are the entrance into the University of Buea, the place to be as it's usually called. Of late, this institution has been making headline news. The students, lecturers, and the administration as a whole have a story to tell. And it is that story that we have come to hear. It is that story that we have come to experience and to make it known to you. So stay with us. The vast array of the campus of the first Anglo-Saxon university in Cameroon presents a citadel of academic excellence. A sense of consciousness grips each and every member of the university community, and everyone is on the move, as in the race to get a prize. The student population has grown over the years, and each one seems to be conscious of his or her responsibility.
Yeah, we have an enrollment today of 15,184 students. I think the relationship between the administration, between the academic staff, and the vast majority of these students are excellent. As you yourself can see, you can go out and run around the campus. You will see that examinations are going on under normal conditions, in calm and all seriousness. Our teachers at the faculties in schools and colleges are always ready to receive students. The University of Buea is actually known as one of those state universities in the country where completion of the program is highest. Teaching, learning, examining usually goes on normally, has gone on normally so far this semester.
Some years after the creation of the University of Buea, the Students' Union, UPSU, was created as a link between the administration and the students. The role has been assumed in principle, with a structure clearly defined. But a few years ago, that relationship became strained.
I don't believe that inside the campus there's supposed to be politics. I believe the students are neutral, whether which political party or not. So whatever information like that being manipulated from outside, I don't know about that. It comes from Mr. Vice Chancellor, and he should answer for that.
The administration of the University of Buea has refuted any claims of any misunderstandings with the Students' Union. It says it is a faction of the Students' Union which is unrecognized by the administration that is causing disorder on the campus. What is the relationship between the administration of the University of Buea and the students?
We have had many problems because there has always been a competition on supremacy between the council chairman, head of the legislature, and the president of the union, head of the executive. And we have undertaken since 2 years a process to reform the student union so that it conforms to the text, official text that applies to all state universities. But this reform has been vigorously resisted by a fraction of the students who think that the student union ought to be autonomous from the university administration. It ought to be even parallel as an administration, and that the council should have exorbitant powers which it can use even to destitute the president of the student union. There have been a lot of discussions on this and a lot of information given to the press and to the public about this. So with this fraction, we have had problems, serious problems. Last year, for instance, the former chairman of council announced elections in November, December, and we said these elections couldn't go on and put up notices to that effect because at that time registration was going on. The university was preparing for the convocation. There were no cost lists. But in spite of that, Mr. Arabison, the former chairman, went ahead and conducted elections. And I think it was at these elections, which were really a parody of elections, that Mr. Eyong-Eta was designated as chairman of council. And the president, the then president of the student union, Mr. Tatam Binglo, declared these elections invalid because according to their internal arrangements, it's the president of the student union who is the chair of the electoral commission. So from there onwards, all the problems and contesting and memoranda and notices went up, giving the impression that it's the whole student body that is against the prescriptions of the administration. That's not the case.
This is the distinction that is made. There is the Faculty of Social and Management Science and other faculties with executives that have been elected into the Students' Union. And then there is another group of students who declared themselves as executives of the Students' Union, and they are the ones portraying themselves and causing disorder. To which of them do you belong?
I belong to the group that brings changes and changes in the positive way. If the Vice Chancellor says there are two groups, therefore he should boldly and come out and define the two groups with names. Let's know, because now I'm hearing for the two groups. I'm just hearing for the two groups because I know that student union is one and one it remains.
On the 11th of February 2011, students of the University of Buea staged a march to the governor's office. They were demanding higher march pass allowances.
They should give us 1,500 francs, but the student union said the money should be increased to 5,000 francs because the other state university like in Guayaquil, Swat, they used to pay them 5,000 francs. So they stood for the fact that they should also give us 5,000 francs. So by the time the other already marched, we were the ones not to, because we were the ones to close the marching every 11 February. The student union wanted that they should give us that 5,000 francs, but they refused. And also they refused that the student union, they should march. Whereas they're like they're the ones that are guiding the students. They're the ones that are taking the problems of the students to the higher authority. So they refused and that they should march. And all of us, they said, since we have our motto, they say all for one, one for all. So since they refused them from marching, us also we said we will not march.
Looking at the event of the 11th of February, the students were asking, one of their revendications was the fact that they should pay 5,000 francs after march pass. Is that claim valid?
Well, yes, that's what they told us when they came. That's what Eyong Eta and Egbereke George, who were the spokesperson, said. But I could not validly regard that they were speaking on behalf of all the students. But there was a bit of manipulation there. As we found out later, when they had that commotion, which was going to delay the march past, and the authorities conducting the march past decided that the university delegation should be bypassed and the march past should continue. Subsequently, they seem to have convinced the students that they should go and tell the governor that they didn't mean to disturb the march past. They wanted to show their patriotism, etc. But as they were moving and going up, they changed the story, so that by the time they got to the governor's office, it was now a question of this demand or that demand. At the University of Buea, we consider student participation in public events like the Youth Day, the National Day, other, even university games, Festival of Arts and Culture, etc. We consider those participations as opportunities for students to demonstrate their patriotism, their civic sense of participation in national events, and particularly for the march past, either on the National Day or on the Youth Day. The tradition has been that the university does not quote-unquote pay students for this. The university encourages students. First of all, the students sign up voluntarily, knowing well ahead that at the end of the manifestation, They will be given refreshments. They will be transported to the site. And those of them who want to come back to the campus, because not all students live down here, will be transported back. And that's what we have done. At first, it was just food that was given and a drink. Later on, the logistics of feeding 1,000 people and so on dictated that we could instead give those refreshments in money, you know. And so we started with 500, then went to 750. We came to 1,000, at some point 1,250. And we were now at 1,500 when we went up. I challenge those who are saying that there is an agreement between the universities to pay 5,000 francs to bring up that instrument.
But don't you think that the students just see that as been going on?
Would be willing to pay if it is available. But you see, there is the principle of it. This is a civic thing. I think if the idea is for us to pay students to go and march and give the impression that they are patriotic, then it's not worthwhile doing it. The idea is that we are here, we are bringing up young Cameroonian men and women, and we say this is a national event. We invite those who are willing to come and demonstrate that the University of Buea is participating. It is an institution that produces patriotic Cameroonians. And we say as a university, we will transport you there. Once you finish your participation, we will give you refreshment.
On that same day, a young Eta Stanley, the acclaimed chairman of the Student Representative Council, was arrested for the second time in a few weeks. Of recent, you were picked up and locked up. You were released, and then on the 11th of February, you were caught up and locked again. What do you think is behind all of this?
Yeah, to be precise, I don't go behind the bush. It is the Vice Chancellor and the Director of Students Affairs. I was released because of the pressure from the students. On the 8th, I was arrested unlawfully. The Students Representative Council marched to the Judicial Police and told them that they have to release me because everything that the Vice Chancellor is saying, that I'm political, I'm SCNC, I am behind all violence in campus, they said it is wrong, and I was released at 1 a.m. on that same day and told to come on the next day at 10. And when I stood in front of the line, this same Vice Chancellor and with the Director of Students Affairs called the police officers to arrest me.
How do you know that he called them?
Well, from the instruction that the police came and took me, they said the Vice Chancellor has told them that they should remove me from the line and that I am not supposed to march.
And is that not because you are not the recognized leader of the students?
Yeah. Why should it be that? Because the students vote for their leader. It is not the Vice Chancellor that handpicked persons that are going to favor his ideas.
Eyonita was arrested and locked up. And then during the march past, who ordered for his arrest?
I don't know.
The Vice Chancellor.
The Vice Chancellor doesn't control the police.
Amidst all these examinations in the University of Buea have not been stopped. The students are conscious of the fact that they've come to the University of Buea for studies.
I want to say one of the effects that I thought I would face was the problem of examination, that we were not going to start our examination this week, but thank God everything went on and the exams have begun.
Now it has been moving well. It's like everything that has been coming is just what was being taught in class, so the students just need to read so that they can make good grades.
It was moderate. The things that were inside were not too difficult. We could answer the questions, though the instructions were confusing, but it just needed a little of reasoning and you're going to get it.
Lecturers of the Faculty of Social and Management Sciences who had threatened to disrupt examinations and, according to the Vice Chancellor, heeded to dialogue in the meantime.
Lecturers asked for certain dues to be paid, and we discussed with them and we scheduled them, and efforts are made for those dues to be paid. I don't think that the way you are presenting it is the way that our discussions went.
So can we say the lecturers are satisfied?
The lecturers are very committed. They are very serious. And these are colleagues with whom we exchange views and agree on the vision of the University of Buea. And, but that does not mean that they renounce their dues.
Whatever the case, university authorities think that it is time to clearly define what should be. As we leave the campus of the University of Buea, one thing is clear. A faction of the University of Buea students are not happy with the administration because they say the administration is manipulating some of the students who are not working in line with student unionism rules. On the other hand, the administration thinks that it is time to bring the various factions of the University of Buea Students' Union together because that is part of the learning process which they must try to inculcate into the students, without which they will not have succeeded. Edwin for Tamfuh, for Top Stories for Equinoxe Television. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks immensely, Edwin for Tamfuh, for that package. And that is what brings us to the end of the show tonight. As always, we are delighted to know that you were there and watching the program. Thank you so much for your kind attention and for always being there for us. Please, we would like to read from you. Write to us at topstories@equinoxetv.com. And do not forget to watch another edition of the program this Sunday, same time, on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye.
There was a moving ceremony at Mogadishu Airport as African Union peacekeeping forces